Yeah, welcome everybody to the MILPA show once again. In this specific episode where, I'm gonna be hosting Comadres 831, and we definitely want to continue focusing on Monterey County and the people that are within it. And today again we have the Comadres 831. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about yourselves. Whoever wants to go first to share a little bit about who you are and a little bit about the podcast itself.
You want to go first? Oh, okay. I was going to say alphabetical order, but all right. So we are 831 Comadres. We have a podcast that started at the beginning of the year. So we're about half a year deep in it already. It's something that is really important to us, something that we hold really dear to our hearts, and it's very much a passion project for the both of us, right? So it's Frenchie and my name is Samantha. I'm born and raised in Salinas, California. Went to Sherwood Elementary School, graduated from there, Al Salsal Middle School, Salinas High, go Cowboys. And yeah, we just, I'm a mom. That's like the most important thing in my life is my daughter. And we really just started this podcast out of like a need to be creative, I think, especially for me as a mom and like being stuck at home with my kiddo all the time. I had this need to have like adult conversations, right? And then also really wanting to create a platform to change the narrative for Salinas. I think that a lot of the times we get this like bad rap of like what people think Salinas really is. And there are so many amazing people here in our city. There are so many residents that are like doing the damn thing, whether it be pursuing higher education or, starting a business or whatever it is, whether they have their own podcast or they're creative in some way, right? We really, really wanted to get out, create a platform that helps to get out the voices of especially the female voices of Salinas, right? And for us to really tell our own stories. We talk about things that a lot of the times are like the talking points on the national narrative, right? But we talk about them from like the perspective of being brown femmes living and working in the 831. And that's what makes it like different. That's what makes our podcast different from other podcasts, is that we're like just two straight up regular Chicanas, first generation, like doing the damn thing, living in the 831. So this is our life, So yeah, what do you want to add to that, Frenchie?
It's like basically what people have been listening when they listen to our podcast. A lot of the girls say when they're getting ready for work, school, whatever, they feel like they're actually talking to their comadres, talking to their girls, like enjoying a good laugh, just, agreeing with us, disagreeing with us, whichever. And they feel like they can actually communicate because they feel the same way. So that's the same platform that we wanted to put out there. We wanted to put like a friend, like a homie family environment for everybody. And just like Sam, I'm born and raised here in Salinas, very proud. I'm that girl that won't say I'm from Monterey County, I'm from Salinas. Like it or not, te guste or no, aquí estoy. So, I mean, it's pretty much Sam and myself, we met literally last October, right? I'm assuming, right? Around that time. So we've barely been friends for a year, but it feels like I've known this girl for like a lifetime. So we connected really well. I asked her, I always wanted to do a podcast, to do something like, to have that energy, that, like Sam said, that femme energy, not just coming from Latinas here, but like from Salinas, being proud. And again, Sam said, it's like, we're proud from being from here. We want to show off Salinas. It's not just like, oh, cholos and killing people and everything. It's more than that. It's literally family here with us. So yeah, that's what I wanted. And Sam was on board, and hey, we started in January, and look at us now.
Yeah, I find it to be that a lot of creators in Salinas always want to talk about the counter narrative, provide like their own story. Porque a veces when it comes down to the media, right, is often stigmatized, always stereotypes that's placed within different communities based off like the population or whatever their historic background is, right? But I think another thing that you're doing here too is that you also create a mentorship. You're creating that space where you can be a mentor for the community in a very positive way, And I think even like, Frenchie, when I met you at the Public Excel, I think it was called, right?
Yeah, Excel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right away, you
Shout
know.
out to the guys at
Yeah,
Excel. That's the local watering hole for
right.
Chris
Get the
and everyone
H2O.
who records on our network.
No, Simon, but yeah, it's a very like right away you came across very like a mother like oh you want to be like a very cool home, you know, to one another, and I feel like
Thank
that's the vibe
you.
that
Yeah.
y'all that's the vibe that y'all are providing, not just within the mic or within the studio, but like amongst the public, amongst others within the Salinas as well, and I can see that you have the heart for it, and I always want to know more like you know what made you really for other activists, for other community leaders, for other people that want to also do something within the community, like how did you all find yourselves to be really active within the community? I know you both do distinctive things, right? You know, from what I understand, you know, Samantha, you're like a danzante and do other things within este de cultura.
No, I
No,
actually, you're the second person who said that. I don't do
what
danza.
you
I'd
don't?
love to. No. So I started going to just like watch the danzantes that practice on Thursdays at
All
El
right.
Dorado Park. And like I'm gonna get enough courage to one day get up there and make a fool of myself, right? Because I don't know the steps at all. But like
Nah.
that's the practice. Like that's what you're supposed to do. But like again, you're the second person that's told me that. I think that
I
I
don't know
just
why. I don't know
I
why.
think I've been like at a lot of places with my homegirl
Mm,
Julissa, who's a danzante,
mm,
and she like has done a lot of things to help out too, to like open ceremonies and like bring sacred smoke and
mm.
offer both a verbal prayer and then also a prayer at the danzante, so they offer prayer, you know, with their feet, right? So yeah, so I think that that's kind of where people maybe make the connection, but unfortunately I'm not. I would love to take that title, don't get me wrong, I'm a lot of things, but I don't do danza.
All right,
I'm
that's
trying
cool. But
to
yeah,
though.
shit,
I'm
yeah.
learning, yeah, but I
Well,
do
yeah.
Frenchie and I very much have come onto, you know, what's referred to as the red road, and
Mm,
just really starting to embrace more of our indigenous heritage and practices and traditions, and trying to really come into spaces and being grateful for that space and for the knowledge and you know things of that nature. So a lot of the
Yeah.
different activists, a lot of the different coalitions and orgs and stuff like that in and around Salinas, I feel like a lot of them are intertwined. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, yeah, I might work with X organization, but I'm really cool friends with my homegirl who works for MILPA, so we can get together and like share information, or you know what I mean, things like that, right? So I think a lot of the times like we're brought into these spaces, and one of the beautiful things that I've been seeing, most especially like within Salinas very recently, is that like a lot of the times we'll have like protests or marches or rallies or whatever it is, and they'll open up these ceremonies with like the sacred smoke, or with danzantes, or with, you know, honoring and acknowledging that we are on occupied land.
And it's just not
You know what I mean?
what we learned. What I've learned, like, you know, Sam, we can relate to this. Where I mean, just me, what I've learned about dance and everything. It's just like how we used to see when I was little. It was just like, oh, they're dancing. I want to see. It's like a, you know, like a concert. But
Entertainment.
the way I've learned from también from like our girl Julissa is like, nah, it's actually a gift. It's like they're opening something else. And I was like, when she said that to us, it's like, oh, mind blown, right? But you know, I love this, like both of us going through this path together and learning different things. It's beautiful. It's really awesome to learn, and it's like I'm honoring my ancestors, and it's cool because also with my husband, I've learned that his family are bear dancers or wolf dancers, and I'm just like, this is why we're together. Somehow, some way, the universe brought us together for a reason. So I'm like, I guess, you know, we're like in that spiritual path, and we're learning little by little.
I used to be in
Yeah.
danza too, and I think that's why I made association. You know, I have so
Mhm.
pero yeah, it's really cool though that regardless of like, you know, being a Santa or not, you still carry on like that journey of like, immersing yourself within our indigenous ways. You know, it's something that's really
Mhm.
important, especially when you're trying
Exactly.
to know what's best for our communities. Because once you start in like indigenizing, right, or decolonizing, however you want to call it, is we started like realizing the things that were um, not just providing healing, but was providing like a some kind of well-being for us, right? That was
Mhm.
sustainable, was not at all what it is today with like the patriarchy, with the racism, or anything like that, the colorism, and all that. So just with those things already in mind, like, what are some things that y'all have seen, as the others do, right? Or even some things that y'all have done yourselves to further go back to our roots, but also provide healing within the community. Because right now our community definitely needs that that kind of history, right?
Yeah. I think for
Exactly.
myself, one thing that was like super important to me, my homegirl Mariah, who is the person behind Healing Committee
I like the
831.
fact that
Follow
y'all
her
are
on
pointing out
Instagram.
other homegirls,
Yeah.
eh? The
That's
Because
what we
homegirls,
do.
that's what it
Mariah,
is, right? Like it's
We
sorority,
love
love. It's
like
all
sending
love
sorority.
and
over
spreading
here.
love. We're all positive vibes here. It's like I don't believe in one and like who's better than who. It's like, nah, we're gonna bring everyone in. This is a family again.
Yeah,
Always
Frenchie
has
and
been. It's good.
um Frenchie and I very much follow that rule of like, don't don't speak negatively on people's names. Instead, like
Exactly.
speak your friends' names in a room full of opportunity and keep everybody else's name out your mouth. Like, so you know what I mean? When I get that opportunity to give props to all the other strong mujeres, that I have in my life and stuff, like that's really, really important for me to always, put on for everybody else that does stuff in the community, not just me, not just my girl Frenchie or,
No.
but the bigger community as well. So yeah, so my girl Mariah, our girl Mariah, who is the person behind Healing Committee 831. You can follow her on Instagram. The first prayer protest that she put on, I think, was for me like a big catalyst for me, right? That really got
Yeah.
me to see like the importance of healing. And she asked me to speak, and I didn't want to do my girl, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to perform and like give her something really, really good. So I really thought about that speech, and I really put a lot of effort and time and thought into it. Not that I don't for, other people, but this one most especially because I was like, dude, my girl came up and was like, hazme el paro. So I was like, for sure. I'm not gonna just show up for you. I'm gonna be sober too. No, just kidding. So yeah. So anyhow, so she asked me to speak there, and again, I really put a lot of energy and time and effort into that speech, and really what I wanted people to come away with was that like it's cool to march, it's cool to protest, it's cool to go to rallies, it's cool to shut down the 101. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like those things get on TV, those things, they bring attention to the cause, but at the end of the day, like once all that is over, we still need leaders. Like we still need people to do the work. Like that is part of the work, but not all of the work. So like that was really what I was trying to convey. Like get get involved. Find something that you're passionate about, whatever that might be, and just, help that cause out. So whether that be like, ministry or like your church, or whether that be, volunteering at a food bank or going to city council meetings or phone banking for someone that is running for office, or council or whatever, maybe you can phone bank for them or door knock for them or something like that to help their campaign. Like whatever it is that interests you and whatever it is that makes you feel a part of this community that we have here in Salinas, like go out and fight for that thing. Go out, do work for that cause, for that organization, for that coalition, for that library, for that whatever it is, like fill in the blank. But when people are involved and they're invested in something that they care about, like that is what pushes change forward, because then it's tangible. They're like, this is what I'm fighting for, right? So I think for me, like one of the things that for in that specific protest that took place, that prayer protest, was that like prayer and healing is so important in this fight for change, because when we do the work, like after that, we need to come back and like refill our cups. And that was like
Yep.
something that I really, really took away from that, and that I try to practice too. Like there's stuff that happens sometimes where, my energy is being called to a certain place, and I have to pull back. I have to, you know, I have to protect my peace and protect my energy, and make sure that I'm not pouring from an empty cup. So like I think that's really important for us to get involved and for us to do the work. But it's like once you know things, you can't unlearn them, right? And it's like, damn, I'm upset. I'm upset that our city council spends $52 million on cops. Man, that makes me mad. Like, so do something about it. And while you're doing that something about it, it's gonna drain you, like physically and emotionally. So
Yeah,
go back and make
emotionally is the
sure to
most.
fill your
Yeah.
cup and be around people who help to fill your cup and who make you feel good, and know your boundaries. And you know,
Mhm.
when you need to heal, and then come back, so that you can come back and you could be really ready, and really present.
And it's
um
okay. We learn it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to cry. It's okay to, feel some type of way about things. It's okay because you're human. That's how we're supposed to learn. I mean, shoot. I mean, we've been through shit. Sam, I don't know what you and me been through so much already. So we already
and
know, like, we're like each other, like, literally now we're like comadres, not just because the show, but everything around. It's just, sometimes we do so much that we forget to, like, self-care, which we're really, like, big believers in.
that was like
We're
one
like,
of our first show topics, was self-care.
exactly. Self-care is like a big thing for both of us that we learn. I'm still learning to do here and there. And once we started doing all this work and learning things, I'm really new to this. Like, I've always wanted to, but then I told Sam, like, back in the day, like, I didn't want to do it, or I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to look stupid. And then the people that I was around or hung out at the time weren't very into what I liked, what I wanted to be into. And then meeting these group of girls, especially Sam and everyone else, it's like, where have you been all my life? Like, I needed you girls back in the day. Like, I needed to, like, my voice needed to be heard. I needed to cry on someone. I needed someone just to hear me out. But yet I was always being judged. I was always being looked upon like, why are you thinking like that? Why are you, like, basically, like, weird, And now it's just like, no, like, excuse my language, but I'm like, fuck y'all. Like, I'm doing me. That's what I'm doing. You don't like it, then walk away. Unfollow me. I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, it's me. I'm who's supposed to be happy. It's who, like, me, myself, and I, like Beyonce said, like, shoot, I'm not going to do that. It's just, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of learning process that everyone still has to go through. And it's okay, because shoot, I'm going to be 30 in December and I'm still learning to do things. I'm still learning to forgive myself and learning about traumas. It's another huge thing of mine that I'm trying to take care of 7 traumas before me and 7 traumas after me. Because, that's another big learning lesson that I had. So, which I'm proud. I think, Sam is one of, like, I can say, like, not only my best friend, but also, like, a really good, like, teacher to me, teaching me little things, how to feel, how to think, how to say. So, I've always say this to her. I always acknowledge it, and I always thank her on the show too. So, si no era por ella or anybody else that we have in our group, I don't know. I would probably be still doing the same damn thing I was doing 10 years ago. Nothing. So I'm really proud of, like, Sam helping me through this journey, and then other, like, Julissa and, our other girls that we have in the group. Like, we call each other, like, a coven, like little brujitas, which
Yeah,
I'm
we're a
very
coven
proud
of
of.
brujas.
We're like brujas. So, I mean, people look at us that we're crazy, but hey, if you're not crazy, then what are you doing?
Something that I've learned in the past too is that no matter how you look at it, everybody is I forgot. Oh yeah, everybody. No matter how you look at it, everybody's problematic in someone's eyes. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're doing you and you're feeling like you're fulfilling your own purpose, you're cool. That's lo que importa,
Exactly.
¿verdad? But yeah,
Exactly.
from what I heard about, from what y'all said, y'all were talking about, like, creating that little network of other comadres, other people that really, have your back, right? And also knowing when to, like, como dijo Samantha, refill your cup, take care of yourself, and bring that piece to those traumas that we have, definitely inherited, because a lot of that is generational. It's things that have been passed down from our abuelitos to our mothers to
Exactly.
right now. And so, given all that you have learned now, what are some words of advice that you would like to leave, for the audience, people, again, people that are, wanting to embark in that journey of being an activist too? What are some things that you would like for them to already be aware of, in the beginning of the journeys?
People always not going to agree with you. Number one rule. It's okay.
You gotta be okay with, like, not being liked. You know what I mean? You gotta be
Exactly.
okay with people not agreeing with you, and not just being okay with it, but, like, also being able to control your emotions around that as well. Like, you can't get
Mm-hmm.
angry and, like,
Can't get
cuss and yell
sad.
up a storm. Even if you're right, no one's gonna hear you if you communicate that way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think
That's
that's a big one for anyone who wants to get into the activism space. Like, don't let people not agreeing with you deter you. And just think another one, man. You gotta have some thick skin. This work is like not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weary. Why do you think our ancestors did it? Because it requires like warrior strength and power and to be, both mentally and physically strong. And I always think back at that, in talking about, or thinking about our ancestors and honoring, their journey as well and their sacrifices and all of the things that they were able to accomplish. You know what I mean? None of those things came easy. None of them. It literally came at the cost of bloodshed of our people, of our ancestors. Like, so we need to like know that like we're still doing this work and it's not easy. It's not easy work. So you need to have tough skin and be prepared to like take a couple on the chin sometimes, because you're gonna get knocked down, and the powers that be, obviously are trying to keep our people suppressed for a reason, and it's because they know what our power is. So yeah, those are big ones. And then the other thing too that I think is really, really important for people to know is, who want to get into the activism space or anything like that, is like, know who your enemy is.
Yeah, like, that's the number one. And that's like,
I think it's really important to really know who your enemy is. Like, really do that work of like decolonizing your mind and understanding what it is that you're fighting for, who it is that you're fighting for, and what systems or people it is that you're trying to dismantle, or, whatever your end goal is. Like, be very clear with yourself and with the people around you as to who your enemy is. Because sometimes there'll be people or, coalitions or groups that'll come in, and you guys might want the same things, but you might want them for very different reasons.
Yep.
So it's really, really important for you to know in your own self and, the people that you roll with, to be really clear on like what the mission is, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, who you're trying to accomplish it for, and really know who the enemy is. That divide and conquer tactic that the colonizer has been using on our people is very real and very alive here and now. Like, don't be fooled by that.
Another thing that I've learned, and I always I ask questions. If I don't know something, ask your friend, ask whatever group you're trying to get together to do, a change. I know, like, Google things up. That's my number one thing. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because there's no such thing as stupid questions. Because again, just like everyone else, you're still learning, and there's something new to learn every day. That's the number one thing for me. And then, like, again, like, our ancestors chose us to have our voice. Our ancestors chose us for a reason to stand up. So again, it's like they knew we were going to be some tough, excuse my language again, some tough bitches out there. And then they look at us. I mean, we're not liked by many. And you know what? It's sad though too, because I just like Sam and myself, we get a lot of not nice messages. And then sometimes I get tagged in things. And you know what? Like Sam said, you learn to have a thick skin. And I learned to ignore it. Because again, I'm not wasting my energy on someone else's negative energy like that. Because then I'm going to feed off of it. And then I'm going to be like horrible the next, it takes away. Yeah, it takes away the energy. It's like a bad vibe. And I don't need that. We don't need that. And then again, what Sam said, and we both said, not everyone's going to agree with you. Not everyone's going to look at you the same way. But you know what? At least there'll be that one adult person, or, we both can be adults and talk to each other and actually have a civil conversation, understand why that person feels the way they feel, and they can understand why you feel like this. And at the end of the day, you're like, okay, that's it. And just, walk away from it. And I've had that conversation maybe twice so far. And it actually was, I didn't agree with them, but at the same time, it's like at the end of the conversation, we're like, dude, we actually acted like civil adults. We can actually talk what we want. Yeah, I'm not going to agree with what you want. I'm not going to agree with what you want with me. But at the same time, it's like, now we know how we feel. Let's step away from the conversation and have a nice day. not like negative, like why you do this, why do you do that, point the finger, because a lot of people like to do that, you know, and then we all know that type of person. So just say. But other than that, I'm just like, hey, ask questions. You don't know, it's okay to ask. You're not gonna look dumb. And then
I think it's okay to ask questions, and it's also okay to bring up those difficult conversations. I think
exactly,
that's
it's
another one
not bad at
too. And
all.
like,
It's a great thing.
you know, one of the things I want to say too is like, you don't need to be like out in the streets and involved with like a coalition or an organization or something like that to be an activist. Like, for me, it started in my own household. It started with me challenging things that I didn't feel were right or just or fair. And I had to like literally step up to like, you know, I was raised in a very traditional Mexican Catholic household. Like, and I know when I say that, a lot of people are like, yeah, I know what she's talking about. You know, mi abuelita, she was a devout Catholic. Like,
Yep.
yo me sé el rosario en inglés y en español. Like, you know what I mean? I went to Sunday school. Like, it was all that, right? So there's
Which I
like
don't
this
even know that yet.
hierarchy of like, you know, like in the family of not crossing your elders. You know, if so and so says it, if the patriarchy of your family says it, that's all. It's like gospel according to Jesus, right? Like, you can't say anything about that. You can't have an opinion. Like, and I really was like, I challenged a lot of those types of things, those norms, the quote unquote norms for, you know, Latinas, for first generation Latinas, for, you know what I mean? A lot of those norms, I challenged them, and I was just like, no, I don't, that's not right. Why does my brother get to do that, but I can't? Why am I the only one that has to clean? No, that's not cool. Like, this person needs to contribute as well. Like, you know, so it's like, don't be afraid to like, and it's not just that, you know, it's also
Like, stand your ground. That's what I feel.
yeah,
People
you
need
know,
to stand your
I
ground.
recently had a conversation with a very close family member, and I ain't gonna put you on blast like that, but I was just like, yo, don't say those things in front of my daughter. That's called colorism. And I don't want my daughter to learn those things. And I won't repeat what the conversation was because it's gross and I don't want to repeat it. But needless to say that like colorism and anti-blackness is something that runs deep and very prevalent in
Yes.
the Latinx community. And someone said something and they thought that they were just saying it jokingly. And I said, yo, don't say things like that in front of my kid. I'm not going to raise my child. Like, first of all, I don't want to be around that. And second of all, most importantly, I don't want my daughter to hear those things. Don't say that. That's wrong. And of course I get the side eye and the how dare you and the, you know, that's disrespectful. I'm your elder. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's disrespectful to a whole group of people. Why are we talking about that? Why are we talking about how that is just point blank period wrong? And it should be okay for me to come to someone in my family that's my elder and for me to say, yo, I think that's wrong, because I'm not doing it in any type of bad way. I'm not cussing. Again, I'm not yelling. I'm not none of those
You're
things.
being civil.
I'm in a very calm manner and in a very civil manner saying, yo, I don't like that type of verbiage and that language being used around my daughter. Please refrain from that.
Nothing's very
And
clear.
that was like, whoa, you know, like, how dare you?
I
Like, that was
agree.
a big one.
No,
So
a lot
again,
of,
like, you don't have to be an activist and be all out in the streets. You could just be an activist at home and be like, yo, mom.
Sorry, Arturo, you can't stop talking. She won't stop talking. Sorry, I'm used to it. You just gotta like go in there.
no, it's always good to hear this. No, it's always good to hear this too, because it reminds me of my family too, but also it reminds me too. I was gonna say, se me olvidó, Samantha. No,
Sorry.
no, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something that era una mentira, right? No, it was
Es lo que dicen, ¿verdad? Si se te
yeah,
olvidó, fue una mentira.
I know, but it was something along the lines that, yeah, when it comes down, no, se me olvidó. Ya está. Se me
That
No,
olvidó.
but I
family
feel what
stuff.
Sam says is true though, because like a lot of my family see me what I'm doing now and stuff like that. They think of me. Some maybe think I'm crazy. Some probably my like older like adult family are like they're letting her do that. She's married. ¿Por qué le está dejando que el esposo haga? You know, again, the man of the house, whatever. And I'm just
Machismo.
like,
I can't believe
yeah,
your
and I
husband
guess,
allows you. What do you mean allow
yeah.
me?
And my husband's like, please go. I don't want you like to get, you know, my husband always like very, and Sam knows this. He's very eagerly want me to go out there. Of course, he wants me to be careful and everything, but he's just like, this is what you do. This is what you like. I'm not gonna stop you. Who am I to stop you? Yeah. Like, and you know, I have Sam as a witness, always hearing him. So it's crazy. And then my other cousin, a cousin of mine of my family, she texts me and she's all like, hey, I saw this Rosie the River, I'm assuming, but it was like the Mexican girl. It's like, I see this every time I think of you because you have a voice and you're like one of the crazy cousin. I'm like, why am I always a crazy cousin? I'm just outspoken. Sometimes I don't know how to use my words wisely, but I make sure everyone hears me because I don't need a microphone, so shoot, like I'm out there. But I mean, I don't care. Like now, más de que nunca tengo una voz que no one can stop me and everyone knows who I am. Like aquí viene Frenchie. Aquí viene con el pelo rojo, el pelo rubio.
That did remind me what I was gonna say. It's always important to be, stay wise about what you say. So if I were to share a tip too, is like to be well versed in what you're gonna be talking about. And whatever it is that you want to have the talk, whatever it is that you want to have a difficult conversation of, is always good to do your own research and really be well versed when it comes down to it. For two reasons, right? I like that Samantha said that when you share or when you converse with someone to be calm, right? Because I feel like a lot of times we're led with emotion and we forget to take our mind with us. You know what I mean? And so it's really important to be calmado and be like really strategic when it comes down to the words that you say and how you say them and all that. Not necessarily to be polite about it, but just to be like very smart. You know what I mean? And just to have each word carry on a very potent purpose. You know what I mean? So yeah, instead talking about potent purpose and the use of our words, what are some last words that you want to share with the audience? What are some last things that you want to leave with them? For them to really keep in their minds when they're carrying on with their pets.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Do your damn thing. Keep dreaming. Don't let anyone's advice or others not advice. Don't let anyone's negative talk make you stop, make you second doubt yourself, because this is not their life. This is your life. You got chosen for a purpose. Don't ever stop. Follow your heart. I know it sounds corny, but legit, follow your heart. That's my word. That's my thing. Be weird.
Let your freak flag fly. I could barely get that out there. I don't know. For me, let's see. I think.
Oh my God.
I'm trying not to be corny, but I kind of feel like I always go there. What's some of the things I want people to? Dang, I wish I had the questions beforehand, right? Then I could have thought of something really great to say.
Like we can't do that.
I don't know. Now I'm like,
we can't do that.
We don't even do that for our show.
I know.
I think it's important to like find what you're passionate about. Like find the thing that moves you, the thing that like, or things that you really feel strongly about. And then fight for those things, like whether that be your family, art, your neighborhood, your city, like whatever it is. Like it could be one thing or one person or a multitude of things or people, right? But like whatever it is that you're passionate about, just fight for that. And I think that's like really good advice. Like it's that whole like follow your dream or whatever thing, but it's just no, whatever you're passionate about, fight for that. Fight for that thing to exist in the world. Like if you're passionate about love, like then go out there and like fight for love. Fight for that. Yep. Fight to see that in your community every day. Create that in your household. Create that for yourself first, and then create that in your household and in your family, and then take that to your greater community. Like if you're passionate about education, then go out and fight for that. Educate yourself, and then go out and tell your family how important it is for them to educate themselves. And then you know what I'm saying, like whatever it is that moves you, whatever it is that you want to see more of in the world, like just figure out what that thing is and then go out every single day and fight for that thing. That's going to help to make this world a better place. Like me as a parent, as a mother, like that's all I can ask of other people is just find what it is that motivates you in this world and then fight for that. Fight that we can see more of that. And I think that's going to help to make every, you know, not just Salinas, but everywhere, you know, a better place. I think that's really, really important. And a lot of the times we like get in this cycle of like, you know, like the daily grind, right? And what we're, hey, please don't do that. Sorry, the daily grind and like that whole idea of like what we're supposed to be doing, right? And we get into this cycle and then it's like, yo, am I really feeding like my soul? Am I happy? Am I, you know what I'm saying? So again, really think about what it is that you're passionate about and then go out into the world and fight for that every single day and make sure that when every day that you get up in the morning that you have breath in your lungs, that you're doing something to add to that. You're doing something that adds to that dream to be fulfilled, to for that thing to come to fruition. Like whether it be
Because you don't
something
know who
big
you're
or small.
inspiring later. You're actually
Yeah.
like inspiring someone that you don't know and they're looking up to you. And that's a good feeling because you never would think that. And then the way they like, you know, again, like you, Sam and me have had people messages like, thank you. You're like, you're letting a voice to what we've always wanted to do. And we thank you for that. You're making me now know or be more aware. And that's a good feeling, you know, like you never think you were actually doing something like that, but making someone's day like that, or, you know, saying, having responses like that to you. It's like, damn, I did that. I made you think that way. Like, thank you. Like, it's, you know, it's very
We
appreciated.
weren't even
Like,
confident when we did it to in the very beginning, and then people are like,
hell no.
yo, that's dope. Like you know, I'm gonna put myself out there now and like do this thing. It's not always podcasting, and usually it's not podcasting. Actually, it's
No.
like, oh, I'm gonna do this now. Like I feel motivated to like put myself out there and be vulnerable, my own self, you know. So yeah, that's something that's really dope.
Yeah, talking about not
Yeah.
knowing who you inspired me today. It's a good conversation y'all definitely led, you know. So yeah, I really do appreciate, you know, we all shared. And I think the listeners will definitely know if they be inspired as well and really appreciate every word that you all shared as well, you know. Pero yeah, con esto, you know, gracias. Yeah, appreciate everything you all contribute onto this conversation.
I have
Thank
one
you.
more thing that I want to
Dime,
add. Is that
dime.
you were talking about call to action. I know a lot of the times, you know, we talk about sharing information and getting informed. And I wanted to put it out there that the flagship show for the network that that produces our show, 831 Comadres, is Salad Bites Media. And the flagship show for Salad Bites Media is Salinas Underground Podcast. And they recently teamed up with Voices of Monterey Bay to bring a series of interviews of all the candidates that are running for like the different council member
Council
seats,
members.
the mayor, and then also the supervisor as well. So they're reaching out to everybody who's on the ballot, and they're gonna be dropping a whole series. So it's like any of the elected
So stay tuned.
officials, they're contacting them all and doing a series of interviews with them. So that is all going to be leading up to the November 3rd election. So, you know, again, just
Vote.
regular people talking
Vote.
and getting
Listen. Yep.
information out there. If you want to hear it from someone who's born and raised in Salinas, from people, a journalist who, you know, is part of Voices of Monterey Bay, like this is going to be a really, really amazing series. And the first interview that they did is with Anthony Rocha. So that's going to be the very first one that's going to come out. He currently sits on the school board, and he's running for District 6 here in Salinas. So, you know, that's going to be some really powerful information that's being shared. And again, leading up to that November 3rd election date. So get informed, you know, and really do the research. And this is a really, really great series of interviews that is like easy. It's not going to be stuffy. It's not going to be like, you know, crazy political type things. No, this is going to
It's
be like
entertainment.
gente from
Feel like
Salinas
it.
having conversations and
Yeah, like
giving
just a regular person having a beer and for all they're talking probably.
yeah, but I also think that it's gonna be really digestible information. I think a lot of the times, like especially our gente, like they use all this verbiage and like, you know, politicos talk political language, right? Like this is just straight up gente having conversation. And I feel like a lot of the candidates are really going to tailor themselves to the type of show that Salinas Underground Podcast really is. which is more of a laid back show, you know, but definitely there's going to be some great information being exchanged there. So everybody look out for that, because that's going to be a really, really good series to come out. I'm really looking forward to like listening to that, and even the districts that I'm not a part of. I'm like, dude, what does Carla Viviana have to say about District 1? I'm all ears.
How can people tune into the, like, what's the show gonna be called?
So it's actually Selena's Underground podcast, and they stream on all the major platforms. So, you know, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google Play, Stitcher,
pretty much listen
Spotify.
to all your podcasts.
Yeah, and just look up Selena's Underground podcast. So yeah, so they're doing, again, Selena's Underground podcast teamed up with Voices of Monterey Bay, and they're bringing a whole series of interviews of all of the elected, or I'm sorry, of the candidates running for office here in Salina. So it's going to be a lot of great information. I'm really, really looking forward to listening to all of those ones. So just look up Selena's Underground podcast anywhere you stream podcasts. And while you're there, look up 831 Comadres. Give us a follow and review us, porfis.
That's right.
That's gonna be like, I'm never having you guys on here again.
Nah, it's good. It's good. I feel like it's really beneficial for us to know that there's these kind of resources out there, you know. So, you know, shout out to you both, right? And shout out to Sally Media and all the folks that are putting it down as well, you know. So, you know,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate everybody. I appreciate you both, right? And everybody that's tuning in. I appreciate y'all for sticking throughout this episode. And hasta la próxima.
Gracias.